Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we are going to be taking a look at the servo on axle mount for your SCX6. Now, a GSPEED did provide a very good mount in order for you to put onto your axle. There is some custom modification that is involved with this project. So in this video, I'll go over everything I did in order to achieve this build, the parts you may need, and some other tips and tricks. And before we get started, it is worth noting that there is two different options in order to continue with this project. The first one is going to be doing custom links that you can build yourself using M4 stainless steel threaded rod, or what you can do is go over to Hardcore RC and buy a set of pre-made bent links that you can go ahead and just toss right onto your vehicle. There are pros and cons with each of these different methods. The pros for doing it yourself is that you're going to be saving a lot of money, but the cons is that you do have to do some custom modifications, but for me personally, that's not that big of an issue. I'll put links in the description box down below so that way you can figure out if you want to do the Hardcore RC method or if you want to build all your own stuff. That being said, let's go ahead and dive right into this. Now that we have the hood off, we can actually see everything I've had to do in order to help achieve this build. The first thing you'll notice is obviously that GSPEED servo on axle mount right there. It is very well machined and it's high quality. Again, I'll leave a link to that in the description box down below. The next thing you're also going to notice is that I had to remove my ESC and servo mount that came stock with the vehicle. I did that in order to help achieve a little bit more room, so that way when my vehicle does flex, it does not want to interfere. Now you can go ahead and try and 3D print or make something yourself in order to help keep your ESC and your receiver mounted right here, but for the time being, I ended up doing a battery location project as well, so that way I can help with the distribution of the weight in the rear of the vehicle. So I went ahead and mounted my ESC and then also my receiver box right here on the side of the vehicle where the batteries would go. If we take a look at the servo mount itself, we can get a better look at that, and then we can also see the little steering link that I did have to make for myself in order to accommodate for the servo relocation. I'll throw up some videos on the screen of me installing the servo mount. It wasn't difficult whatsoever, but the only thing I would mention is that make sure you do use hand tools and do not use any power tools, as you may accidentally strip out one of the heads, and it's very, very difficult to get these bolts out once they are stripped. I went ahead and flipped the vehicle over so that way we can talk about the upper and lower links of your vehicle. As you can see, I have the trio high clearance links in both the front and the rear, but I do have the stock upper links. And for this project, I was able to reuse my stock upper link that came with the vehicle. But as mentioned before, I did have to go ahead and make a brand new fourth link. For the fourth link, I was able to find a M4 stainless steel bolt that I had laying around in my garage. You do want to get stainless steel, as in case you do need to cut this. You don't want it to rust if you're just using regular galvanized steel. After that, I went ahead and cut the head of the bolt right off, and then I just threaded on the rod ends from the panhard mount, and I'll show you why. The panhard mount comes with two different types of rod ends. You have a straight rod end, but then you also have a little bit of a kinked outwards rod end, as you can see where my screwdriver is pointing right there. The reason why I put this rod end where it's at right here is so that way it can help push the link a little bit further out from the frame rail of the vehicle. As far as mounting the fourth link to a certain point on the chassis, there is going to be a little opening between the lower section of the frame rail and the upper section of the frame rail right here. I went ahead and mounted that in between that opening, so that way when the vehicle does flex, my rod end does not want to interfere with any section of this. I did have to drill a hole right here through the frame rail, and then I just threaded a bolt right through and then secured it with a nut on the backside. As you can see, when I move the vehicle suspension, the rod end and the link want to pivot just nice and freely. I am still playing around with a little bit of the geometry, but those upper links are just going to connect right here into your GSPEED mount. Now, while the vehicle is upside down, I do want to make one quick comment about the trio lower high clearance links. With this modification, you are going to be experiencing some rubbing with your drive shaft on the lower right-hand side high clearance link. So what I had to do was take my drive shaft off and actually shave down a little bit of the conjoining piece right here. That way the drive shaft does not want to rub and wear on this lower link right here. Now we're back at the front of the vehicle, and for the servo steering link, all I did was again take another piece of M4 threaded stainless rod and then use the stock rod ends that came from my lower links that I replaced with my trio ones. Went ahead and cut that down to size and then just secured it right to the other steering link right here. As for the relocation of the ESC and receiver at the front of the vehicle, I drilled holes into the side battery post right here. And then Traxxas also makes a cheap and convenient waterproof option for storing your receiver. So you can actually get these for, I believe, about $13 online. I'll leave a link down in the description box below. I'll actually go ahead and give you a quick little suspension test right here. It travels very nicely. I don't have any binding. It does want to pull a little bit towards the left when I push down on the vehicle. Again, I'm still working out the suspension geometry associated with that. I'll go ahead and pick up the different wheels right here. And realistically, what you're getting out of this is just a nice low center of gravity, especially if you want to combine it with the brass diff covers. And then also I threw in some brass little C-hubs and steering knuckles from Power Hobby. Overall, this isn't too terrible of a project to do. You will need a little bit of time on your hands if you want to go the custom route and not pay the extra money for the hardcore RC links. Again, time is money, so you really have to value that for yourself. The overall point of this video was just to show you what I had to do and what I had to go through, because there's not a lot of specific videos on this conversion kit online. So if I missed anything or you have questions about anything, please do not hesitate to ask in the comment section down below. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.